No man is an island. This is a very common statement that we've all heard in our lives. And what does this mean? A human being is a social animal. We live by interacting with each other. And to do this, in most cases, you must be either intentional or you must be conscious of what you're doing. Relationships are very critical in our society because they help us live better lives. And there are quite a number of them. We see living with siblings in a family, that is a family relationship. We see relationships in schools, workplaces, etc. But then also remember that we are different. Living as one and having a relationship does not stop the fact that we are very much different and we have different characters, different behaviors. And therefore, one or the other, somewhere you either step on the foot of another or you annoy another person. So what should we do in order to make sure that as we live in these relationships, we are living amicably and together as a family? That forms the mantle of our discussion this evening, building healthy relationships. And our reference will be amongst teenagers. We see this is a group, this is an age group where there is a lot of challenges, especially learning each other, living with in different societies, because they start from home, they go to schools, and then they have to come and work. They meet different people from different backgrounds. Therefore, there is need to appreciate diversities. And in this group, that's why there are a lot of challenging situations that may hinder relationships. Therefore, this evening, we are going to dive into how do we live better relationships in the teenagers. And in the studio, I am very happy to welcome Freeman Gita. Freeman Gita is someone that is not a new face here. We've been here together. He normally comes to Back to Basics, and together we discuss different topics. He is someone who speaks passionately about youth, mental health, work, performance, anxiety, and making sure that you live a better life. He shares knowledge without reserving anything. So, where you are tuned in live on GoTV, free to air, and different mobile applications, Afro Mobile app, YoTV, and other socials, you will not miss what Freeman has to offer this evening. Freeman, you're very much welcome to Back to Basics.
Thank you very much, Moses. It is always a pleasure to be welcomed here at Bethany TV. As you said, it's not my first time to be here. You became family. Mm-hmm. So whenever we come here, we discuss issues that are affecting the country, yes, and those that can be able also to help people move on very well in line with their mental well-being and also psychosocial and emotional well-being.
Fantastic.
My name is Gita Emmanuel Freeman. Yes, once again, I would like to let you know I'm a counselor by profession, and also in the same spirit, I serve on the board of Uganda Counseling Association as the PRO and head of advocacy. I've worked with various schools in line with counseling, guidance, mentorship, leadership, and all other aspects of the teenage life and youthful way of living. Today's topic on building healthy relationships, as Moses you've introduced today, we are looking towards informing these young ones, informing this young generation of ours, how best can they live their life. If you've noticed, many of our teenagers and the youth are living on myths. Actually, even they have made up their own wordings, their own things concerning life and how it should be lived. And for you who is out there and is listening to me today, I want to ask you a question. When you look at your family, your friends, and your own self, how is your relationship with all the three? Someone will ask me, why am I looking at also the relationship between a person and themselves? I would ask you the same question. How are you with yourself? Some of us, as we are growing up, we reach a time and we do want to be so hard on ourselves. I don't know if you've seen some of those children. Most of the youths who are, let me say, bookworms, they have forgotten that there is life beyond just the fact that you're going to look in that book and spend the whole night in it, wake up, spend the whole day in it, and at the end of the day, all you want out of yourself is excellence. Is that the good relationship that someone could call? I'm seeing people there, you want to be a model, figure, that word came, and you're starving yourself. Parents that are watching, look at the diet of your child, the diet of your daughter. How is she feeding? How is he feeding? I'm not saying they should eat too much or they should eat too little, but are they eating enough? There are some of our boys who are being pressured on having 6 packs, having that chest that is huge, but they are tiny. And now they are eating like as if they are sponsored. They are eating extreme. They are putting themselves under pressure. So they are not in good relations with their own self, with their own bodies, loving themselves. Loving yourself is part of a relationship with yourself. And you ask yourself, how many people are out there that are under pressure and you do not want to be in good terms with your own self, but every day you're putting yourself on pressure? The focus group, as you've said today, we are looking at teenagers and youth. I will not go to the work-life balance. That is another thing for another day. When you are growing up, or when you were growing up, how was life for you at school? When it came to being among the best, wanting to be the best, getting the best out of yourself, even when it wasn't called for. That is relationship with yourself. How many times do we choose to rest? Now many of you are back to school, or back from home, sorry. You're back home and you're from school, and now the only thing you have on your mind is I have to do Netflix every day, morning to evening. Remember at school you are sleeping for only 6 or 4 hours, but you've come back home and it is worse. You watch Netflix until 3 a.m. and by 7 you are awake to go back on the same thing. And the parent who is there and you're seeing your child with these sleeping patterns and you're not worried. These things can bring about quite a lot of things. So in today's discussion, I would want us to focus on, have you seen the headlines of today? By the way, today, just as a reminder, we are celebrating the World HIV and AIDS Day. When I read Daily Monitor, the headline was shocking today. I felt like there is no future secured. 70 teenagers on a daily contract HIV. In a week, how many are those? 490. I sat back and I wondered, I was like, do we have anything like a safe and healthy future? And where does it come from? How do the teenagers relate with themselves or relate with others in that bracket of friend zones, friendship, boyfriend, girlfriend? It is the talk they usually have. But how they run that is what is very much important for us today to discuss. And how, lastly, is how they do with their parents, with their family. You are back home, but it's like you have not been interested in returning. You are there, you are more on your phone than you are with the people at home. Is it being a healthy relationship? Or it is being unhealthy? You only come to sit at the dining table to eat food, but you're on phone. And you, a parent who is watching, you allow your son, your daughter to come to the dining table with a phone. For us, where we grew up from, I don't know. I don't know where we are going to take these children. You bring the phone to the dining table. How? For us, actually, even before the dining table.
You'd bring it on whose table? In whose house?
Even
that was an abomination.
Remember, we had what we called, in Luganda, it's called orujuliro. How is it called in English? Where you sit all on the ground.
Like communal eating, maybe.
Where would you even get the time to get the phone? You're all cross-legged, or you have sat comfortably. Sometimes I miss the traditional African ways.
But even the phones were not there.
Yes, they were not there, but even now they are there.
Were not there.
What has changed?
But maybe you would even, like, how would you start playing when it's time for food? Even to lose concentration. There was time for food, and it was that. Freeman, you brought in a very fundamental concept that maybe adds something to what we've been generally knowing about relationships. In most cases, the moment you mention relationship, someone thinks of how do I relate with a Freeman? How do I relate with my colleague? How do I relate with siblings? Like external kind of thinking in terms of relationship. But you brought in relationship with yourself, with oneself. And I think that's a very fundamental concept that I would wish we kind of add some much more focus and first kind of discuss the detail of it for someone out there to understand. Because someone might be asking, how do I love myself? Isn't it being selfish? And after that, then we can look at what brings that people don't appreciate the need to love themselves and in a healthier way. And like you mentioned, the myth about loving yourself, like the teenagers that you've mentioned and why the rates are high. They might be thinking having fun, maybe sexual activities, is taking care of themselves when they're inflicting damage to themselves.
Exactly.
So, Freeman, would we continue and kind of shed more light on loving yourself? And what should someone do, especially the teenagers who have now come from holidays? What is the starting point, the basics that they should adopt in order to keep loving themselves in a healthier way?
Now, if we are to come into the gist of loving oneself, I'll just task these teenagers. When your phone is going below 5%, what do?
You charge it.
Many of you even cannot allow your phone to go below 10%. But question is, how is your psychological and emotional well-being? When do you understand that now I am stressed, I need to go and relax? When do you understand that I have not slept enough, I need to rest and give my body time to reboot? Because you realize that your phones are so much in love for yours. You love your phones more than anything else. What you eat is part of how you can love yourself. Teenagers, lately you think taking alcohol is part of loving yourself. I'm experiencing good life. I'm experiencing something beautiful. But the damage...
They even post.
Smoking shisha.
He's smoking shisha. Talk about it.
They're eating... How do they call this? Nkwacho. You're eating nkwacho like as if you're goats. And
Nkwacho is what now?
It's called, I'm forgetting the name in English.
Like in Jaga? Marijuana?
No.
The leaves.
The kakola.
The Maironji.
I think so.
Yes.
I'm forgetting the botanical name.
Maironji.
They buy big your teeth are dying. That thing is
smoking.
Is spoiling teeth. Lately, we are always in the dentist and we are. I sit back and I'm like, your own health, minding about your own health is part of loving oneself. Do you know the person you're sleeping with? Lately, these people don't know who they're sleeping with in school. I have been receiving reports on various schools how students are sexually active. But when you meet this student who was having sex with a fellow and ask them, was the condom on? No. And I sit back and myself, I'm asking, just because she or he looks nice, looks healthy to your eyes, you have put your whole health life at risk because you're using your eyes to test these STIs. This one, calvesy, chesty, facey, onomulamu. But when you're going to eat food that stayed up for a night, you put it in a warmer. Why do you do that? And you cannot mind about who you go sleep with. Also, on health, how many of you go out for exercises? I don't mean going to the gym. Exercises. Our bodies. You might look at someone who is not minding at all about their body. And they're not minding to keep up with that healthy way of living. Exercising once in a while. And at the end of the day, someone tells you, I overfall sick. I don't know why. You are your own problem. You don't mind about you. So all that is one of the things, even the people you associate with. Then we have toxic people and we have healthy people. But the toxicity around with humans, there's some people who just allow it. You have friends in school who are not making you, who are not giving you that feeling of, you know what? We accept you, we like you, we support you, and you're continuously there because you need their support, but each and every day they are pulling you down. They're telling you you're not good enough, you don't fit in our group, you don't fit in us, you know? All that kind of, and you're allowing it in your life. It is eating you up. I'm having lately very many increases in low self-esteem. But when you get these students and sit them down, you realize the causes is the company they have chosen. And that company you have chosen is the one putting you down. Are you loving yourself? What do you choose to watch is another thing. Instead of going to watch and see how do you overcome low self-esteem, how do you overcome low confidence levels, every night they're on pornography. So what you feed your mind is also part of how you relate with yourself.
That's true.
You're going to start demanding a lot from yourself at that young age because you're watching adults having sexual practice and you also want to match up their energy. That is now one of the things that is killing these young ones. They are putting a lot of demand on themselves and they're not having that personal time. When do you also get time to reflect on yourself? To reflect on the past, understand the present, and also meditate on the future. They barely get that time. And if you ask them these terms, they will be like, what is meditation? But how do you reflect on the future? How do you understand the past? And how do you make sure that the present is well lived? That is one of the ways. And an individual can be able to understand how they can relate with oneself.
Freeman, what brings that situation in the lives of the youth and teenagers?
When you look at, one of them is social media.
Talk about it.
Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. Those ones, I am not against the companies or the apps.
Yes.
But please develop user manuals for our young ones. Kids are drowning. Students have lost identity in these applications. Snapchat. Oh my God. When you look at these young ones, Snapchat, they have lost identity. You are there, your skin color is
pink, purple.
You're using filters that are bringing you out as a white. And that is the only filter. Even when you go with friends and they're taking pictures, you look for that filter on that Snapchat, and that is the filter you want. They have lost identity. They no longer love themselves. You look at someone, they see themselves in the mirror and they're not comfortable with what they see in the mirror. What you see in the mirror is a total reflection of who you are. Not what you see on that phone that brings that.
And that app. It's just an app, by the way.
On TikTok, there are challenges that come in. The TikTok challenges, you know.
Yes.
Aha. The way they have taken these students off. And once they fail to pull off that, I have not made it in life. I'm a failure. And you're forgetting you're having a first grade in your academics. You came back home with a very good report that shows that you are doing well. And you're really not looking at that, but you're looking at the TikTok challenge. Come to Instagram. You are on pressure following people here and there. Follow, like, comment back. You're asking people to comment back on your post. Are you mad? Are you okay? You are the one putting yourself under the pressure. But all these things were brought about for us to socialize, but not to now become dependent on them. That is one of the things that is taking us students off. Then the other one is this, how should I even bring it out that they should understand it best? We are under influence and pressure from our own peers. You are under influence and pressure from your own peers. You don't have a girlfriend, bro. You're not cool, man. How can you be there? They don't even call them girlfriends. You don't have a shawty. How can you be there? You're not man enough. You don't have the balls. And now you're under that pressure.
I think peer pressure is one of the biggest also that really can influence this.
Very true.
Freeman, we were going to go for a very short break, and you mentioned social media, can be thinking about it, but I just want to ask you something about how should the parents and guardians help to mitigate the negative effects of social media.
Okay.
But we will do that after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still talking about building healthy relationships. And yes, we've taken much time on explaining relationship with oneself, especially amongst the teenagers, because that's where it starts from. For now, let's have a short break. We'll be back. Reference to teenagers and the youth, considering the fact that holidays are here and youth come from school with all kind of programs, Netflix, doing TikTok challenges, TikTok live shows, Instagram things, Snapchat, mention it. And according to Freeman, who I am having with here in the studio, this is a very big contributor of issues, teenager issues in the society. And we are looking at how do we build a healthy relationship, looking at building a healthy relationship first with yourself before even relating with others. And for the break, I had posed a question to Freeman. Social media has been mentioned as one of the causes of issues in teenagers. But my question to Freeman, which I would want him to deliberate on, is these teenagers are from school. Probably they have no income, they have no money to buy themselves these gadgets, iPhone something, iPhone what. Who gives them the phones? Isn't it the parents? Or maybe the elder brothers who are working and sisters who are working? So I'm asking, what should the parents and the guardians do to mitigate the effects of social media in the teenagers?
Okay, thank you very much for that. I was It's also one of the things that I had at the back of my mind. When I look at our parents, dear parent who is there, you're not going to tell the world that your child got spoiled just because they wanted privacy. Before a child makes 18, as a parent, you have the Constitution of Uganda gives you the utmost authority over the child. But do you know that now it is children that rule the parents? You are there, my dear parent, my dear mother to that child, father to that child. Omwana ya kufuga. Daddy, on my 12th birthday, on my 13th birthday, when I make sweet 16, they even give you a limit. I need iPhone 12.
And the type of a phone they want. The one that has nice filters and the
iPhone 12.
Accommodate such applications.
Ate munange, nze nabona, I suffered when I was growing up. My children won't suffer. Welcome to burying your child alive while you are seeing. I will also highlight it. You parents are the highest contributors to the misbehavior and the failure of your children to build up a healthy relationship and way of living their lives. Because at the end of the day, you'll find a parent who is telling you, Munange, for us we suffered when we were growing up. My children should not suffer. Does it mean opening up doors to them for all that can risk their morality and well-being, part of loving them? There is an application, by the way, if you're here, dear parent, if your child is below the age of 18, there are applications on phone that can help you control what they watch, what they see, and what they do on their phones. It is called Family Link. You can check it on Play Store or Google Store. If your child is below the age of 18, you can follow up which application have they downloaded, what is on their phone, how long are they on the phone, what time did they go off this application. It can help you monitor all that, even if you're in Dubai, even if you're in Abu Dhabi, even if you're in America, and your child is in Uganda. This application can help you follow up on that. You're the parent, you've put free Wi-Fi at home. Yes, it is okay to put it there. But you are back home. Your child is on phone ever since you got back. Let me say, you are my dad. Welcome back, Daddy. How are you? I'm like, when did we get there? Hey, God have pity on my children.
Yeah, indeed, God is protecting us. And I think one way, if the families try to raise these children in the values of Christianity or whatever they have,
yes,
faith, and because I'm seeing that the controlling, yes, controlling is there, Freeman, putting the up and control. But I think that comes like a secondary. If you have done the basics and they have failed, why would you give a phone to a 13-year-old to own it completely, such that now you start installing apps on your phone to control it? Don't you think it would be better? Yes, I know sometimes we must also move with the technology, not to leave your child behind or something, but if they would want to use, let them use your phone, because they will not have a lot of time with it. They can Google, they can just use your phone. My thinking, other than giving the total freedom of iPhone, you call it 12 or something,
iPhone 12 Plus,
13 Pro.
Pro
They know
Max.
them.
Yes.
They come when they've known. And some, I think they get from peers.
Even
Why
sugar
would
daddies
yes.
and sugar mummies.
Is that one of the fears, parents' fears?
Some of them have it.
Why they now say, if I don't provide, another person will provide, and that would be bad. Do you think is it one of their fears and the reasons why parents go ahead at 10 years, 11 to buy a phone and completely give it to their children to own it?
My parents, when I was growing up, they were always interested on who is my friend. That was the best way they could regulate on how I am living my life. Who the friend your son or your daughter is to is very important. Because they will be the one to set the pace of whether your child will appreciate the process at home or will not appreciate it. That's why you hear, hey, mommy, you've refused to buy me an iPhone. So and so at their home, they bought him. I'm like, thank you. You're the one who allowed your child to go there. I'll give you an example. Lately, I was handling a parent. My parents, I'm sure, okay, they also go through challenges.
Yes.
And they need parenting skills, by the way. If you find out that it is becoming so hard for you to take care of that child, to mentor that child, to groom that child, please come and receive parenting skills. Come and receive parenting techniques. Come and receive counseling as a parent and know how best can you intervene. Some of you are parenting these children with adverse childhood experiences. The pains you went through while growing up, the pressures you went through while growing up, the stress you went through while growing up. And they're failing you to be the best parent to your child. That is one of the ways. Now look, we have a parent, a child is in kindergarten, 4 years. 4 years. They were having is it a speech day, how they call them? She came and consulted from the teacher. Kati, Madamu, how should I have to buy my child a phone. My child is asking for a phone. And he wants it as a gift for this year. But for me, I was thinking of buying him a tablet. And the teacher went on well and said, you know, a phone is not necessary. You need to buy at least the education tablet is okay. The parent brought for the son an iPad. Things that even us who are up here want to buy, but at the moment we look at not necessary, the phone is enough. Bought an iPad for the child. Very good model. The child rejected the iPad. Said, Mommy, I want a phone. I won't take it. This is where the African in me comes out.
Yes.
You receive beyond repair. Like, when do you start? I want a child who is going to be on my neck for needs. But by the time the child rejects in front of everybody and says, Mommy, I won't take it, sits down and starts doing this kind of drama. You as a parent, you facilitated to the development of that behavior and character of your child.
That's true.
The sense of entitlement.
That's true. The sense of entitlement.
That many of them have.
Disobedience, because I mean, that's,
children are going for shopping and they're making it specific. I want open shoes, Yenzi, Adidas type, if not, Versace. Bring that. But if you don't bring it and you bring another brand, Mommy, I can't take that at school. And you start explaining to your child why you didn't buy Versace. When did we get there? So you realize that we are helping these students come up, all these children come up with that sense of entitlement. That I want, I must, and I should. I don't want explanations. Back then we would write, I need the soap, I did it. Your father, your mother is not going to be too bad to bring you the worst. For us, they would bring us either they've brought Movit or Geisha, you go and shower. Lately, students are asking for shower gel. When does your child need a shower gel to be bright and have common sense at school? That if you don't buy the shower gel, they won't go. Students at school now, they're all showing off, pretending. Like they're bringing, how should we call it? A posh lifestyle at school of we have it all. And they're making those who don't have at all feel out of place.
Those who don't have at all feel out of place, but even them themselves, you know, the luxuries, the posh things, the more you go, because if now it's Versace, then there's another designer that would come. So they also keep demanding, they would keep, take an example of a phone. You're owning this model, you think now this is the latest, but then they're announcing
you're finding a
the next model coming.
Holding an Android. The son has iPhone 13 Pro Max. The son is in senior 1. But the parent is owning a phone that is 10 times below the brand of their child. Ate munange, let me hold this one, munange. For us, we grew up suffering. I don't want my child to suffer. You are digging your own grave for your own son. You're going to see them drill down deep under the sea that you will never get them out. And you will not blame the world. You supported it.
You blame yourself. Freeman, how about this scenario where parents and guardians see their children with items they didn't buy, and it's okay? What do you comment about that?
For us, when we were going to school, our parents did a search. Before you leave, they see whatever you've taken in your suitcase. And my parents will tell us, dare lose one, next holiday, we shall not buy you another. We shall use your pocket money to buy that which you have lost. So that made us always be very keen with our property. You leave home when you have labeled everything. Right now, a child goes to school, loses a pair of shoes, and calls home. Mommy, this lost. Like your child loses 10 items in one term, and your child is in secondary school. Are you raising a responsible child, or you're raising a custodian of excuses? You realize that as VD, when they're picking us from school, you would see our parents saying, open your suitcase before we go, to check, do you have what you brought? And the moment you have what is not yours, where did it come from? Who gave it to you? My dear parents out there, how many of you are checking your suitcases of your children when you're picking them from school? Your child did not go to school with those Crocs, and they're coming back home with the Crocs, and you're not mindful about it. There is another parent out there whose child is going back home under stress and pressure. That's why I love it at our school, where I also work, Chambogo College School. Parents there come, and I love the attitude. Before you enter the car, we check. Even before you get out of the dormitory, the senior man checks. Somebody reported white Crocs that got lost. Everyone, before you move out, so that there is accountability for everything.
Yes.
Your children are selling off their own properties at school. Dear parent, make sure when you take a child to a given school that is either of high social standard than yours, you are able to maintain and maybe educate your child that this is where we come from, but it shouldn't define you when you are at school. If possible, can you try to at least meet the minimum standard of these things? These children are selling off their own property at school to get money. But you as a parent are not concerned. Go every time you're buying the shoes. Now the child knows, I will call home and they replace. For us, you had to provide accountability. How did it get lost? Where? How?
And how?
So we have to be involved and get to know, where did my child get this sweater? Where did my child get this? If the child cannot provide explanation to what and where they got that property, as a parent, pick that property, return it back to school. Or before you leave the school, get that property out of the suitcase, put it back. That is when your child will understand, if I cannot account for this, it is not mine.
It's not mine. And I think it's a very, very great value to instill in children to know that this is not my belonging. Probably there's someone who owned this has lost now. And you feel for the other.
Yes.
And then also those who buy cheaply from others at that level, that's also not a very good kind of practice. So I think it's very important. And like you're saying, the parents enforcing that by asking, it gives a sense of accountability.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Freeman. I know we've dwelt more on oneself, but I think it's very important. It's something that is unique. Like I said, every time we mention about relationships, we think about how to relate with other the Freeman, with the maid at home, with the sibling, but we forget that it always starts with you. And as they always say, that you cannot give what you don't have.
Exactly.
So Freeman, I think we are concluding. Our time is well spent. Just in a minute, if you need to say bye to the viewers, and then we conclude our show.
Okay, my dear teenagers and youth, that are back home for the holidays. I would want to appreciate you for having been safe at school. The school also, I want to appreciate you for having kept these students well. But now that you're back home, don't put this holiday to waste. Put all your focus on how best can you live life the healthy and best way without losing yourself into the demands of society, and also without losing the precious relationships you have with your family, friends, and relatives. Sex is not the only way to communicate how much you value and love your friends. Please abstain as much as possible. HIV is real, and it will really be absurd, and it will really be a sad notice that you acquire it at a tender stage and it was out of your own will. Don't live to tell that story. It is painful. And I would also want to wish all of you a happy, I hope you were able to celebrate the World AIDS Day very well. And to our brothers and sisters that are living with the HIV positive, we are here for you, we understand you, and we hear you. Stay safe, adhere to medication, make sure that you also adhere to counseling so that you can be able to live a healthy and wonderful life. Don't forget that if it gets hard, if it gets troubling, find a counselor, talk to someone, and everything will be well. From me to you, I wish you a very good night and a fruitful holiday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Freeman. And if you wouldn't mind, maybe you would leave us with your number in case a parent out there would want to maybe reach out to you and get more parenting skills, because that's where it starts from, if you don't mind.
My dear parents and students, you can be able to reach out to me on 0780 66 23 29. I repeat once again, 0780 66 23 29. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp or through a call. If you're a student and you need assistance, talk to your parent, request them to be able to reach out to us, and we can be able to assist you. Thank you very much, Bethany TV, once again. And for my host, Moses, it is always a pleasure to discuss such sensible and impactful discussions with you. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, fantastic, Freeman. Thank you very much too. And we always look forward to having you again and again.
It's a pleasure.
And to all our viewers and listeners, we've just learned that the road to building a healthy relationship is having a healthy relationship with yourself. Otherwise, you cannot give what you do not have. Just to re-echo what my friend has just said, I also wish you a happy AIDS, World AIDS Day. And for those who are having the HIV, we are all brothers and sisters in this world. And God is there for us all. We are together in this, and we wish you all the best. Our viewers, stay tuned on Bethany TV for health. That's where you'll get all the healthy tips in different healthy programs, and it's live on GoTV, free to air, and different socials. So do not miss every program. For now, wish you all the best and have a great night. Bye-bye.